Let's talk about a very common problem that almost every English learner experiences. You are in a conversation, someone asks you a question in English, and you understand it perfectly. You know exactly what they are saying. But then, your brain suddenly becomes completely empty. It's like someone turned off the lights in your mind. You want to answer, but you don't know how to start. Maybe you try to say something, but the words feel slow. They don't come out right. Or you just give a very short answer, like yes or no. Inside, you feel frustrated because you know you could say more if you had the right words and a clear idea of what to say first. This can happen in many situations. Imagine you're at work and your boss asks you, "What do you think about this project?" You understand the question, but your mind freezes, and you can only say, "It's good," even though you have many thoughts in your head. Or maybe you are traveling, and someone at the hotel asks, "How was your flight?" You could tell a short story about your trip, but instead you just say, "It was fine," and the conversation ends quickly. This also happens in job interviews. The interviewer asks, "Tell me about yourself," and you feel all your English disappear. You smile nervously and give a one-sentence answer when you could have told a lot more. And of course, it can even happen in fun situations, like at a party. A new friend says, "What kind of music do you like?" You know the answer in your own language, but in English, you can't think fast enough. So you just say, "Pop music," and the conversation stops there. Today, we're going to talk about something very important: how to answer any question in English. Many English learners understand the question, but then they don't know what to say. Maybe you have experienced this. You listen, you understand, but your brain goes blank. You feel nervous. You say, uh, hmm, and then maybe you give no answer or a very short one. This happened to me once when I was learning another language. I was in a small coffee shop in Spain. The waiter came to my table and asked me a question in Spanish. I understood every single word, but when I tried to speak, nothing came out. My mind was empty. I just smiled and made some strange sounds. Finally, I said something that didn't even answer his question. The waiter was kind and laughed a little, but I felt embarrassed. From that moment, I understood something important. Speaking is not only about knowing words. You also need a simple way to organize your ideas before you speak. If you have a clear method, you can answer any question more easily. You can feel calm and confident, even when the question is a surprise. In this episode, I will teach you that method. It is easy to remember, and you can start using it today. By the end of this lesson, you will be able to answer questions in English in a more complete and natural way. I will ask you questions. I will give you time to think, and you can answer out loud. It doesn't matter if you are alone. This is your practice time. So, let's begin. Welcome to the English Talk Show. I'm Peter, and I'm happy you're here. Today we are going to learn a simple method that will help you answer any question in English with confidence. Stay with me, practice with me, and by the end of this episode, you will be ready to speak more clearly and naturally. Now, let's make this interactive. I will ask you some simple questions in English, and I want you to answer them out loud. Don't worry if your answer is not perfect. This is just practice. I will pause for 3 seconds after each question so you have time to think and speak. Are you ready? Here we go. Question 1. What is your favorite food? Question 2. Where do you usually go on the weekend? Question 3. Who is your best friend? Question 4. What is your favorite movie? Question 5. When is your birthday? Did you notice what happened? Maybe you were able to answer quickly, or maybe you felt that little freeze in your mind. That freeze is exactly what we are going to fix today. The goal is for you to never feel stuck again. I will show you a method that will help you take any question and quickly organize your thoughts into a clear and complete answer. Once you learn it and practice it, you will be able to speak with more confidence in any situation, at work, during travel, in interviews, or at parties. Now that we understand the problem we all face, let me introduce you to a simple, powerful method that will help you answer any question in English without freezing. It's called the 5W method. The 5W comes from 5 important question words in English: who, what, when, where, and why. You might already know these words, but today we are going to use them in a special way, not just to ask questions, but to help you build strong answers. This method works because it gives your brain a map. When you hear a question, instead of panicking, you can quickly check each of the 5 W's in your mind. Even if you only use 2 or 3 of them, your answer will be longer, more complete, and much more interesting. Let's go through each W slowly with examples that are easy to understand. 1. Who? This is about people. When you answer a question, think about whether you can mention a person. Who could be yourself, another person, or a group of people. For example, if someone asks, "What is your favorite hobby?" you could start by answering with who. "I like painting, and I often paint with my friend Anna." Here, my friend Anna is the who. It makes the answer more personal and interesting. 2. What? This is about the thing, the action, or the main idea. What usually gives the core of your answer. For example, if the question is, "What do you do on weekends?" the what might be, "I usually go hiking in the mountains." This tells the listener the main activity you do. 3. When? This is about time. It can be a specific time, like last Saturday, or in the morning, or a more general time, like every summer, or on my birthday. Adding when gives your answer more detail. For example, "I usually go hiking in the mountains on Saturday mornings." Now the listener knows when the activity happens. 4. Where? This is about the place. Where does the action happen? This can be very short, like at the park, or in my kitchen, or more descriptive, like in a small coffee shop near my house. For example, "I usually go hiking in the mountains on Saturday mornings in Blue Ridge Park." That place detail
makes the answer even stronger. 5. Why? This is about the reason. Why do you do it? Why do you like it? Why is it important to you? This part makes your answer more emotional and more memorable. For example, I usually go hiking in the mountains on Saturday mornings in Blue Ridge Park because it helps me relax and enjoy nature. Now, imagine you only said, I go hiking. That is a short answer. But when you add the 5 W's, even if you don't use all of them, your answer becomes longer, clearer, and more interesting. I usually go hiking in the mountains on Saturday mornings in Blue Ridge Park because it helps me relax and enjoy nature. That's a full, confident answer, and it gives the other person more things to talk about.
Let's practice together. I will guide you step by step. I'll give you a simple question, and we will go through each W together. Here's the question. What is your favorite food? First, think about who. Can you connect this food to a person? Maybe it's something your grandmother cooks, or something you always eat with friends. Say that person in your answer. I'll pause for 3 seconds. Good. Now, what? This is the name of the food. Maybe it's pizza, pasta, sushi, or something from your country. Say it clearly. Great. Next, when? When do you usually eat it? On weekends? On special holidays? Every Friday night? Now, where? Where do you eat this food? At home? At a restaurant? At a market? Be specific if you can. Finally, why? Why is it your favorite? Is it delicious? Does it remind you of your childhood? Is it healthy? Now, put it all together into one complete answer. I'll give you a few seconds to say your sentence. Excellent! You've just created a rich, detailed answer using the 5W method. Let's try another one. Question: where do you usually go on vacation? First, who? Who do you go with? Family? Friends? Alone? What? What do you do there? Do you swim? Visit museums? Try new foods? When? When do you usually go? In summer? Every year in December? Where? In this case, the where is the main question, so give the place clearly. A city, a country, a beach, a mountain area. Why? Why do you choose this place? Is it beautiful? Relaxing? Exciting? Now, connect your ideas into one answer. See how much richer your sentence is compared to just saying, I go to the beach? The beauty of the 5W method is that you can use it anywhere. If someone asks you a question in a work meeting, like, can you tell us about your last project? You can quickly think, who worked with me, what we did, when it happened, where we worked, and why it was important. If you are in an interview and they ask, tell me about your strengths, you can still use 5W. Who noticed these strengths? Maybe a boss or colleague. What the strengths are, when you used them, where you applied them, and why they matter for this job. Even in casual conversations, at a party, on a date, meeting a new friend,
These 5 simple words can guide you to speak more, give details, and keep the conversation flowing.
Let's do one final practice together with a slightly more open question. What do you usually do after work? First, think of who. Maybe you do it alone, or with a friend, or with your family. Then, what? The main activity, like cooking dinner, going to the gym, watching TV. Next, when? Do you do it every day? Only on certain days? Right after work? Or later in the evening? Where? In your living room? At a park? At a friend's house? And finally, why? Maybe it helps you relax, keeps you healthy, or makes you happy. Now, try to connect all of these ideas into a single, flowing answer. Here's the most important thing. You don't need to use all 5 W's every time. Sometimes 2 or 3 are enough. But if you train yourself to think in this order, who, what, when, where, why, you will always have something to say. No more frozen brain. No more, I don't know. You will be able to speak with confidence in English, even if the question is unexpected. And the more you practice, the faster your brain will get at finding the words. That's the power of the 5W method. Now it's time to put the 5W method into action with real questions. In this first practice round, we will focus on personal questions. Questions about your life, your hobbies, your interests, your career. These are the kinds of questions people often ask when they first meet you, in friendly conversations, or even in job interviews. Here's how this practice will work. I will ask you a question, then I will guide you step by step using the 5W method. First, we will go slowly, giving you plenty of time to think and answer. Then, we will do the same answer at a more natural speed, so you can hear how it sounds in a real conversation. I want you to speak out loud, even if you are alone in your room. Speaking out loud trains your mouth and your brain to work together. Question 1. What is your favorite hobby? Let's build your answer. First, who? Is there a person connected to this hobby? Maybe a friend you do it with, or a teacher who taught you, or a family member who inspires you. Say the person in your head, and now say it out loud. Good. What? This is the main activity, like painting, playing guitar, gardening, dancing. Say it clearly. Next, when? Do you do it every day? Only on certain days? Right after work or later in the evening? Where? In your living room? At a park? At a friend's house? And finally, why? Maybe it helps you relax, keeps you healthy, or makes you happy. Now, slowly, let's connect these pieces together. Repeat after me. My favorite hobby is painting. I usually paint with my friend Anna on Saturday afternoons in her small studio. I love it because it helps me relax and be creative. Now let's say it in a natural, conversational way. Repeat again. My favorite hobby is painting. I usually paint with my friend Anna on Saturday afternoons in her small studio. I love it because it helps me relax and be creative.
Question 2. What kind of books do you like to read? Start with who. Maybe you share books with a friend or a book club. What? The type of books: novels, biographies, self-help, history, fantasy. When? When do you read? At night? On the bus? Every holiday? Where? Where do you usually read? In bed? At a cafe? In the park? Why? Why do you enjoy these books? Do they inspire you, teach you, entertain you? Now let's put it all together. Repeat slowly. I like to read mystery novels. I often share them with my sister, and we talk about the story after we finish. I usually read in the evenings before bed, in my favorite chair at home. I enjoy them because they keep me curious, and I love trying to guess the ending. Now, natural speed. I like to read mystery novels. I often share them with my sister, and we talk about the story after we finish. I usually read in the evenings before bed, in my favorite chair at home. I enjoy them because they keep me curious, and I love trying to guess the ending. Question 3. What is your dream job? Who? Is there a person who inspired you to want this job? What? Name the job. Teacher, engineer, artist, chef, doctor, pilot. When? When did you start dreaming about it, or when would you like to have it? Where? Is there a specific place or type of company you want to work in? Why? Why is this your dream job? Let's connect it. Slow first. My dream job is to be a travel photographer. I was inspired by my uncle, who worked for a travel magazine. I started dreaming about this when I was 15 years old. I would love to work for National Geographic and take pictures around the world. This job is my dream because I love exploring new places and telling stories through images. Now, natural speed. My dream job is to be a travel photographer. I was inspired by my uncle, who worked for a travel magazine. I started dreaming about this when I was 15 years old. I would love to work for National Geographic and take pictures around the world. This job is my dream because I love exploring new places and telling stories through images.
Question 4. What do you usually do in your free time? Who? What? When? Where? Why? Let's put it together. Slow. In my free time, I like to go cycling with my neighbor, John. We usually go on Sunday mornings in the countryside near our town. I enjoy it because it keeps me healthy and I love the fresh air. Natural speed. In my free time, I like to go cycling with my neighbor, John. We usually go on Sunday mornings in the countryside near our town. I enjoy it because it keeps me healthy and I love the fresh air. Question 5. What is your favorite type of art? Who? Maybe an artist you admire, or someone who introduced you to it. What? When? Where? Why? Let's build it. Slow. My favorite type of art is photography. I became interested in it because of my high school teacher, Mrs. Roberts. I usually visit photography exhibitions every few months at the City Museum. I love photography because it captures a moment and keeps it forever. Natural speed. My favorite type of art is photography. I became interested in it because of my high school teacher, Mrs. Roberts. I usually visit photography exhibitions every few months at the City Museum. I love photography because it captures a moment and keeps it forever. By practicing like this, first slow, then natural, you are training two important skills: thinking in English and speaking fluently. The slow version helps you organize your ideas. The natural version prepares you for real conversations. If you do this regularly, you will notice that your answers become longer, more confident, and more natural without having to think so hard.
Now we are going to take the 5W method and use it for deep questions. Questions that go beyond small talk. These are questions that make you think more. Questions that are not just about what is your favorite color or what do you do on weekends, but about your ideas, your values, your life experiences. Answering these kinds of questions well will make your conversations richer and more meaningful. They also help you sound more confident, intelligent, and expressive in English. When you get a deep question, it is very easy to give a short, basic answer. Something like, Q. Why is education important? A. Because it helps people learn. That answer is correct, but it's very short. It doesn't give details. It doesn't show your personality. If you use the 5W method, you can expand it into something much more complete and interesting. Let's take the same question and build it with 5W. Who? Who benefits from education? Children, teenagers, and even adults. What? What exactly does education give us? Skills, opportunities, knowledge. When? When in life is education important? Only as a child or throughout life? Where? Where should education be available? Schools? Online? Everywhere. Why? Why does it really matter? For personal growth? For better jobs? For a better society? Now here's a better answer. Education is important for everyone, children, teenagers, and even adults. It gives us knowledge and skills that we can use in daily life and in our jobs. Education is important not only when we are young, but also throughout our lives, because the world is always changing. It should be available everywhere, in schools, online, and in the community. Education matters because it opens doors to better opportunities and helps build a stronger, fairer society. See the difference? The basic answer is short and safe. The improved answer has details, structure, and depth. This is what makes you sound more fluent and confident.
Let's practice together.
I will give you 2 deep questions. I will give you time to think after each step. Question 1. What was your childhood dream? Think about the who. Maybe a person inspired your dream, like a parent, a teacher, a celebrity. Think about the what. What was the dream exactly? To be an astronaut, a singer, a scientist. Think about the when. How old were you when you had this dream? Did it change over time? Think about the where. Where did you imagine yourself living or working in this dream? Think about the why. Why did you want this dream? What feeling or reason was behind it? Now, say your complete answer out loud, connecting all the pieces. Here's an example basic answer. When I was a child, I wanted to be a pilot. Here's an improved answer. When I was a child, I wanted to be a pilot. I was inspired by my uncle, who was a pilot for a big airline. I first had this dream when I was about 8 years old, after he took me to see the cockpit of his plane. I imagined myself flying all over the world, landing in different countries. I wanted this because I loved the idea of adventure and discovering new places. Question 2. What personal value is most important to you? Think about the who. Who taught you this value, or who represents it in your life? Think about the what. Name the value. Honesty, kindness, responsibility, respect. Think about the when. When did you first learn this value? As a child? As a teenager? In a specific situation? Think about the where. Where do you see this value in action? At home? At work? In your community? Think about the why. Why is it important to you? How does it guide your life? Now, say your complete answer out loud. Example basic answer. The most important value for me is honesty. Example improved answer. The most important value for me is honesty. I learned it from my parents, who always told me to tell the truth even when it was difficult. I first understood the importance of honesty when I was in primary school, after I admitted a mistake and my teacher respected me for it. I tried to practice honesty in my home, at work, and with friends. I believe it is important because it builds trust and strong relationships. When you practice deep questions like this, you are training not just your vocabulary, but also your ability to connect ideas and express opinions. This is a higher level of English communication, the kind you use in interviews, debates, and meaningful conversations. The 5W method gives you a clear structure so you don't freeze or give a very short answer. With practice, your answers will flow naturally, and you will be ready for any kind of question, big or small. Now that you have practiced serious and deep questions, let's make things lighter. Conversations are not always about big ideas. Many times they are about small, fun topics that help people relax, laugh, and connect. These lighter questions are very important because they help you keep conversations lively and enjoyable. Today, we will use the same 5W method, but with questions about food, games,
travel, music, and even karaoke. Yes, karaoke! When you answer fun questions, you can be more creative. You can add funny details, personal stories, and even little exaggerations to make your answer more interesting. The 5W method works perfectly for this because it gives you a framework, but it also gives you the freedom to decorate your answer however you like. Example 1. Food. Question: what is your favorite meal? Basic answer: pizza. Improved answer using 5W. Who? Who do you usually eat it with? Friends, family, alone. What? What kind of pizza exactly? With cheese, pepperoni, pineapple. When? When do you usually eat it? Friday nights, birthdays, weekends. Where? Where do you usually have it? At home? In a restaurant? In another city? Why? Why do you love it? Taste, memories, comfort. Slow speed example. My favorite meal is pizza. I usually eat it with my best friends on Friday nights. I love cheese and mushroom pizza, especially when it's fresh from the oven. We often go to a small restaurant near my house. I love it because it reminds me of my time in Italy, where I had the best pizza of my life. Example 2. Travel. Question: what is the most exciting place you have visited? Basic answer: Paris. Improved answer using 5W. Who did you travel with? What did you see and do? When did you go? Where exactly in the city did you spend most of your time? Why was it exciting for you? Slow speed example. The most exciting place I have visited is Paris. I went there with my sister 2 years ago. We visited the Eiffel Tower, the Louvre Museum, and many small cafes. We stayed in a little hotel near the river. It was exciting because it was our first trip to Europe, and everything felt magical.
Example 3. Music and karaoke. Question: what song would you choose for karaoke? Basic answer: Let It Be. Improved answer: I would choose Let It Be by the Beatles. I usually sing it with my cousin when we go to karaoke on weekends. The first time I sang it was during a birthday party 3 years ago. I like to sing it in small, friendly places because it's easier to relax. I choose it because the song is beautiful and everyone knows the words, so people sing along with me. Minigame. Guess what I'm talking about. Here's how it works. I will describe something using the 5W method, but I will not say the name. You try to guess what it is. Ready? Example 1. Who? Many people, especially children, love it. What? It's sweet, sometimes cold, and sometimes soft. When? People enjoy it in summer or after dinner. Where? You can buy it in a shop or from a street cart. Why? It's delicious and makes you happy. Answer: ice cream. Example 2. Who? Travelers and tourists from all over the world go there. What? It's a very tall building with lights at night. When? You can visit all year, but it's special during the holidays. Where? It's in New York City. Why? The view from the top is amazing. Answer: the Empire State Building. Your turn. Now think of something, maybe a type of food,
a famous place, a song, a game, and describe it using the 5W method. Don't say the name. If you're listening alone, try recording yourself and later check if a friend can guess what you described. Fun questions are not just for entertainment. They train you to think quickly, add details, and keep the conversation alive. Using 5W for these topics will make your answers longer, richer, and more engaging, even when the subject is light and playful.
Let me tell you a true story about a time I was completely surprised by a question in English and how I could have answered much better if I had known the 5W method back then. A few years ago, I was traveling in Japan for the first time. It was my second day in Tokyo, and I had decided to visit a small local cafe I had read about in a travel blog. The place was beautiful. Small wooden tables, soft jazz music, and the smell of fresh coffee everywhere. I sat down, ordered a cappuccino, and started reading my guidebook. Everything was peaceful. Then, suddenly, the woman sitting at the table next to me turned to me with a big smile and asked, "So, why did you come to Japan?" Now, you might think that's an easy question, and it is, if you are prepared. But I was not ready at all. My brain froze. In my head, I had so many reasons. I wanted to see the cherry blossoms, try real sushi, learn about the culture. But in that moment, all I managed to say was, I like Japan." She smiled politely, said, "Oh, that's nice," and went back to her tea. And just like that, the conversation was over. I missed a chance to make a real connection, all because I didn't know how to structure my thoughts quickly. Later that evening, I was still thinking about that moment. I imagined how different it could have been if I had used the 5W method. Let's try it now together so you can see the difference. The question was, why did you come to Japan? Who? I came with my best friend, John, who also loves traveling. What? We wanted to explore Japanese culture and food. When? We planned this trip 6 months ago and arrived 2 days ago. Where? We are visiting Tokyo, Kyoto, and Osaka. Why? Because Japan has always been my dream destination for its mix of modern cities and traditional history. Now, if I put that into a full answer, I came to Japan with my best friend, John. We have both always been interested in Japanese culture and food. We planned this trip about 6 months ago, and we just arrived 2 days ago. We will visit Tokyo, Kyoto, and Osaka. I've always wanted to come here because Japan is a place where modern cities and ancient traditions exist side by side, and that's something you can't find anywhere else. See the difference? The first answer I gave, "I like Japan," ended the conversation. But the second answer, using the 5W method, opens the door for more questions. The woman could have asked, "What kind of food do you want to try?" Or, "Which city are you most excited about?" Or, "How did you and your friend plan this trip?" Suddenly, instead of silence, you have a real conversation. And here's the lesson. Questions will surprise you. Sometimes you will expect them, sometimes you won't. But if you train yourself to quickly run through who, what, when, where, and why in your mind, you will always have something interesting and complete to say. You will not only answer the question, you will invite the other person to keep talking.
That's the secret to great conversations, whether you are in Tokyo, in your hometown, or anywhere in the world.
We have now learned the 5W method and practiced it with personal, deep, and fun questions. But the real challenge is using it naturally in everyday situations, when you have no script, no time to prepare, and you need to think fast. In this part, we are going to simulate 3 different real-life situations: a job interview, a casual meeting with a new friend, and a travel experience. The goal here is for you to listen to each question, pause, and mentally run through the 5 W's before forming your answer. I will give you a few seconds to think. After that, I will share an example of a short, basic answer, and then show you how to expand it into something much more interesting and complete using the 5W method. Scenario 1. Job interview. Imagine you are sitting in a bright office. Across the desk is a friendly but serious interviewer. They ask you, "Can you tell me about a project you are proud of?" Pause now. Take a few seconds to think about the 5 W's. Who was involved? What was the project? When did it happen? Where did it take place? Why are you proud of it? Basic answer. I worked on a sales project that went well. Expanded answer. I worked on a sales project last year with a small team of 3 people in my company. Our goal was to increase sales of our newest product. We started in January and worked for 6 months focusing on building relationships with clients. We met regularly in our office in São Paulo to plan strategies and share progress. I'm proud of this project because we not only increased sales by 25%, but we also built strong connections with customers, which created long-term benefits for the company. Notice how the expanded version gives the interviewer a complete picture. It's not just sales went well, it shows teamwork, time frame, location, and the reason for your pride. Question 2. Job interview. Why do you want to work for our company? Basic answer. Because I like your company. Expanded answer. I want to work for your company because I admire your focus on innovation and quality. I first heard about your products 2 years ago when a friend recommended them to me. Since then, I have followed your work, especially your recent project in renewable energy. I live close to your headquarters, so I'm familiar with your presence in the community. I believe working here will give me the chance to grow my skills while contributing to a company that shares my values.
Scenario 2. Casual meeting. Now imagine you're at a party or networking event. You meet someone for the first time, and they ask, "So, what do you do in your free time?" Basic answer, I read books. Expanded answer, in my free time, I enjoy reading books, especially historical novels. I usually read at night before going to bed. I started this habit when I was a teenager, and it has stayed with me ever since. I often read at home, but I also like visiting small cafes where I can relax with a coffee and a book. I love reading because it helps me escape into different worlds and learn about cultures from the past. Question 2. Casual meeting. Have you seen any good movies lately? Basic answer, yes, I saw a good one last week. Expanded answer, yes, I watched a great movie last week called The Journey Home. I saw it with my best friend on Saturday night at a small cinema in the city center. The film tells the story of a young woman traveling across the country to reconnect with her family. It's set in beautiful countryside locations, and the cinematography is amazing. I liked it because it made me think about the importance of family and personal growth. Scenario 3. Travel situation. Now imagine you're sitting next to someone on a long train ride in another country. After a while, they turn to you and ask, "Where are you traveling to?" Basic answer, "I'm going to Rome." Expanded answer, "I'm traveling to Rome for a short vacation with my cousin. We planned this trip about 3 months ago after finding good flight deals. We will be staying in a small apartment near the Colosseum for 1 week. I've been to Italy before, but never to Rome, so I'm excited to see the historical landmarks and try authentic Roman dishes. The main reason for this trip is to celebrate my cousin's birthday and spend time together exploring the city." Question 2. Travel situation. What has been your favorite part of the trip so far? Basic answer, the food. Expanded answer, my favorite part of the trip so far has been the food, especially the pasta dishes in Florence. I'm traveling with 2 close friends, and we arrived in Italy 4 days ago. Every day we explore a different city, but Florence has been the most memorable so far. We found a small family-run restaurant where the chef personally came to our table to recommend dishes. I loved this experience because it felt authentic and warm, and the flavors were incredible.
Why this matters. In every situation, formal like a job interview, friendly like meeting new people, or casual like travel conversations, the 5W method transforms short, basic answers into rich, interesting stories. These details invite the other person to ask more questions, which keeps the conversation alive and makes you memorable. When you practice, try to always pause, think of the 5 W's, and then build your answer. Even if you only have time for 3 of them, you will still give more than a one-word reply. Over time, this becomes automatic, and you will notice your confidence growing. We have reached the end of today's lesson, and it is time to review everything we learned. The 5W method is simple but powerful. Remember, who? The people involved. What? The action or event. When? The time. Where? The place. Why? The reason or motivation. When you use these 5 points, your answers become complete, clear, and interesting. You no longer give short, empty replies. You give answers that invite conversation. Now, here is your challenge for today. I want you to answer 3 different questions in English before you go to sleep tonight. They can come from anyone, a friend, a colleague, a family member, or even from yourself. The important thing is to answer them using the 5W method. Pause, think, and include details for each W. You can speak them out loud, or you can write them down, but you must actually do it. Here are 3 example questions you can use if no one asks you anything today. What is one thing you enjoy doing this week? What is your favorite place in your city? What is a goal you want to achieve this year? Finally, I want to hear from you. Share your answers with me and with our community. You can send them to the program through our social media, email, or by recording your voice and tagging us online.
I will read and listen to as many as I can. And who knows, maybe your answer will be featured in a future episode. Remember, practice makes progress. And the more you use the 5W method, the more confident and fluent you will become. Now go out, use your English, and make your conversation shine.
Before we finish, I want to remind you of something important. Speaking English is not just about knowing the right words or perfect grammar. It is about sharing who you are, your experiences, and your ideas with the world. Every time you use the 5W method, you give people a chance to see your personality and to connect with you. The more you practice, the more natural it will feel. And one day, you will realize you are speaking without even thinking about it. So, here is my message for you. Don't just answer questions in English. Tell your story. Your story is what makes you unique, and it is worth sharing. Every conversation is an opportunity to make a connection, to inspire someone, or to learn something new. Use your English to open doors, to build friendships, and to grow. Thank you for joining me today. I'm Peter, and it's been a pleasure to guide you through this journey. Keep practicing, keep speaking, and never be afraid to make mistakes. They are part of learning. In our next episode, I will teach you how to use simple connecting words to make your English sound smooth and natural, just like a native speaker. Until then, take care, keep practicing, and keep telling your story. See you soon!